Okay, this is for Mixed Media Morsels number 5, and this is the tissue technique. And here's my book, and here's the technique that I did in my book. I just attached the 2 pieces of paper, and I gessoed the paper, and I'll probably do that every time just because I want to cover up sort of the pattern that's on the paper. And then the only tissue that I had actually has glitter embedded in it. It's just a white tissue that has glitter embedded in it. The only tissue that I had at the time. So on this one, I used the tissue. I attached it with the Mod Podge. And then I used Blueprint Sketch and a little bit of chipped sapphire distress ink to rub over the top. And then I topped it off with more Mod Podge so it would give it that kind of leathery shine that I like. So that's my version of this. And then I went a little crazy with this, and I really like it. I started with a soft pink. It was almost a corally pink undercoat of paint because I wanted a background color. And then I took a stamp, a big, huge background stamp, and you can hardly even see it now, but you can kind of see it maybe right here. But it's more like a subtle color, so I used hot pink ink, Stays On ink, and I put it on this background stamp, so you can kind of see it right there. And it was just sort of a lace design. And then I topped it with the same tissue paper that had the glitter in it. And then over the top of it, I used Victorian Velvet and Picked Raspberry. And it was nice, but I wanted to go a step further, so I grabbed this in the Pearl Luster color, and I just spilled the Pearl Luster over the top of it. And basically, all the places where the distress ink hadn't dried yet, it stuck, and I embossed it. And so you get this effect of all of the wrinkles having that pearly iridescent quality. And I love this piece of paper. It's fun. So I will have a process video after this that demonstrates what I do with this piece of paper. All right, thanks, and have a great day. Okay, here's the layout I'm going to make with that background paper. I'm just showing you the papers I'm going to work with. This is a piece of paper from the Kaiser Craft True Love collection that I got in the mail about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's a beautiful, beautiful collection that's for Valentine's Day, but it has a lot of options. I'm trimming down the tissue paper background, and it's going to be the largest background piece on this, but I'm trimming it down. And it's going to go there. You can kind of see the layout of how this is going to go together. I'm going to use the back side of the floral. I'm going to use both sides of that True Love paper from Kaiser Craft because the back side has a beautiful brown sort of subtle print, which I think goes nicely with Rhiannon's hair. This is a layout about how Rhiannon got head lice at camp, and we had to cut. She had long hair until this last summer, and we had to cut it all off to get the head lice to go away. So she got this little pixie cut this summer. Sorry if you can hear my son in the background. Let me see if I can. My son's playing Skylanders in there. I'm just attaching the floral to the top. I love, love, love that floral. Love it. And then, of course, her photo to that photo mat. This layout gave me fits. I had to fiddle and fiddle and fiddle. And most of the embellishments that I pulled from my little, I made sort of a kit out of that, where I did a big silhouette cutting session and cut a ton of stuff out of my silhouette to add with the paper, and gathered a few things, and most of the things I initially pulled didn't end up on the layout. So this green, I wasn't happy with the green. It was too minty. So these are my homemade Pearl-Ex paint, and if you want to know how to make those, you can go to my video. It's several years old, but it's called The Case for Pearl-Ex, and that's one of the ways it teaches you how to make that Pearl-Ex paint. And it's a bit like the, I think people are using something called shimmers, where you have to wet them. That you have to wet these to get them, to activate them. You put water in them and then they wet up. That floral die cut, I didn't end up using it. So the one is the green. This color is mink. That's the color of the Pearl-Ex that I made this paint out of. And it looks brown, but as you turn it, it also shimmers green. It's one of the neatest colors in the Pearl-Ex line. It's one of my very, very favorites. And so that's an old Thickers die cut that I've had for several years. I'm trying to dive into my stash and get rid of some of these things that are sitting in my stash as well. And I go ahead and I paint that Rhiannon die cut, and then I don't end up using it. I don't end up using the big floral die cut either. So I fussy cut a lot of flowers out of the background paper, and I'm going to cut that short. I'm not going to make you watch me fussy cut all the little flowers, because that would be really boring for you. And I have a double layered, see that embellishment in the bottom left hand corner? I don't end up using that. That thing goes all over this layout. It's really pretty, but it just never worked for me. I'm going to go ahead and adhere the picture. I have to pop dot up the 3 sides that aren't sitting on top of that tissue paper technique, because the tissue paper technique is kind of bulky. So I use the foam tape to pop it up. I love that expression on her face. I think that was a selfie. She's always taking selfies. And my title, it says New Do. And I made that on the silhouette also. And these things, see that floral? It's like a tag now, because I built it up. I put the background of the background paper behind it, and I loved it, but it didn't work. That doily, that's when it started to work. So I pulled out a little plain tag for my journaling, and I still think I'm going to use that double layered flower, but I'm not. And I just keep moving things around, and I cut out probably 3/4 of the moving, because I would move and then move and then move, and it was just, oh, this was a difficult layout for me. Probably because I'm not really feeling very good. You can probably hear that in my voice. I've been sick for almost 3 weeks now. Actually, 4 weeks. I'm tired of being sick. This is a bad cold. All right, so there's some things that I'm just pulling things out of my box of stuff that I cut up. Just trying all kinds of things. What about this? What about this? And I'm still not wanting to get rid of that double layered die cut. And I can see now, see, it just blends into the background. It doesn't really work. And I found that word darling, and I loved it because the haircut's darling. So I'm going to use that. I cut that with my silhouette too. And I see that double layer crochet flower that I made several years ago, and I think I'm going to use that on this. It's kind of neat. It's bulky, but it's pretty. And I love the pink and the orange together on it because it goes perfectly with this paper. So I still got that, oh, and I abandoned that die cut finally. I say, nope, can't work. And I'm going to put the title down there because that green title really shows up on that background. And it fills that spot nicely without being overly full. And you're starting to see the final layout come together. Finally, I'm figuring it out. I've got my tag up there for my journaling. I'm just pop dotting the bottom because it's going to hang over off of the picture, and remember the picture's pop dotted up, so I need to make it the same layer, kind of the same height. So I'm just pop dotting that up. This is such a quirky little picture. My daughter, she gives the funniest expressions. She looks so much like her dad. Oh my gosh. So there it is. And I finally got the title on. And I'm finally committing, so I'm going to start gluing things down. Still trying to, should I put it somewhere else? No, no. It goes nicely there. Just leave it. It just feels like it has that long, strong vertical line of embellishment down the middle, and it looks like her eyes are looking down at it. So, she's such a goof. I had to get my Fabri-Tac glue, and I had just gotten new Fabri-Tac, and so I had to argue with my Fabri-Tac for a while because I had to get it all. It was brand new, and I had to get it you know, like it was all sealed up, so I had to get that all. So I cut a bunch of that out, but I'm finally gluing things down and committing. This layout took me over an hour to do, and it was mostly just because I would move things around and move them around. I love that little, oh, that die cut looks so cute. I've really committed to using my silhouette a lot, where I plan, you know, like 3 or 4 layouts. I'll do the titles, and I'll do a page for each layout, a little 8.5 by 11 cuts. And I'll make the title, and then I'll make a bunch of other die cuts, and I'm starting to save them up in little drawers, the extra die cuts in the various colors of paper, because then I've got them for when I want to do scrapbooking. You know, they'll just be around. And this white tag that I've got came from my drawer of extra die cuts that I had. Because while I'm doing, thinking about the silhouette, it's just not convenient to use while you're actually scrapbooking. You need to plan ahead with it. Otherwise, it just does not. And I think that's why some people don't use it as much. So I did my journaling on that little tag. And like I said, that was in my drawer of die cuts, of extra die cuts. And I'm going to tuck it right there. And I love this. And I just bought those doilies. I had gone like on a doily kick, and I bought like 4 or 5 packs of doilies because I didn't have any. So I had 2 or 3 to try out, and I finally decided on this one, and I love it because it's sort of creamy. I don't know, it's nice. I'm feeling like the top right hand corner is a little bit blank on the picture, so I fiddled with it a lot, and you can even see where I cut a Tim Holtz thing and I didn't use it. I just used a plain kind of photo corner. I go off to sew around the corner as I'd sewed around the one at the bottom. And now I pull out some gems. These are spare parts gems. They're kind of opaque faceted gems in various sort of dark colors. And I like them. I use a black one above the darling. I use a dark green one for the exclamation point. And then I use the brown ones. A brown one to cover the hole on the tag, and then 3 brown ones on the photo corner. And that will be the layout. And I do like how it came out. I think it's super cute. And I love this paper. Oh my gosh. And here's the close-ups. You can see how that mink is kind of, see how it's sort of green? And the title and the crochet, you can see the crocheted flower. All right. Have a great day.